4.5 years ago, 26-year-old David Smith weighed 630 pounds. He hadn't left his home in a year, and he even considered ending his own life. But fortunately, he decided to reach out to a complete stranger for help. Today, he has lost over 400 pounds and largely credits the unlikely friendship with the man who helped him do it. Please welcome the man who helped turn David's life around, Chris Powell. And now, 400 pounds lighter. Please welcome David Smith. Wow, David, I have to ask you, okay, 26 years old, 630 pounds, you lived in the house in Arizona, you never left, you wanted to end your life. What made you be so heavy?
It was mostly due to drinking soda throughout the whole day,
okay,
and eating late, at night, and binge eating at night.
Yeah, and because I saw in one of the clips you had like a lot of pizza.
A lot of pizza, a lot of, soda. And
okay, and then what comes in your mind when you say, I'm just going to lose this weight, I'm going to do it, because you're 600 pounds.
I thought about it, and, why am I this unhappy? And I thought, if I could be this unhappy, maybe I could be happy.
Okay.
Did you ever consider doing the gastric bypass?
I did, but, I figured, I had a good chance of dying on the operating table. And, that's not good odds for me.
No.
Not at all.
No.
And Chris, you were working as a fitness correspondent for your local news station.
Yes.
And then you got this letter from David. What happened?
In fact, it was just my first couple months at the station, and one of the producers came to me and said, well, look, we get hundreds of emails of people asking for help. This one is really something. You can have it, but you don't have to do anything about it. Mm-hmm. And so, so I got this email, and it said, look, my name is David Smith. I'm 630 pounds. The doctor said I might have 4 years left to live, and I don't know what to do. If anything, maybe you could just come show me a few things that I could do. I need help. I don't want to die.
So then you went over to David's house. What'd you think when you first saw David?
Well, it took me probably a week. I had to think about it for a week because okay, I didn't know exactly what to do. I'd worked with athletes before and just regular clients looking to lose 10 to 15 mm-hmm, pounds. And and my family and even the folks at the station were like, how can you help this person? He's 630 pounds for a reason. He's not going to change. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. And so I picked up the phone, I called him up, I said, I'm going to show up on Saturday. I just want to meet you. That's it. I just want to meet you. And, it's kind of like when you're going to go buy a puppy. Where you're driving, you're like, I'm not going to get the dog. Right. I'm just going to go look at it first. Yeah. But I don't mean it like that, but that completely came out the wrong way. But at first, I just wanted to meet him, and I just wanted to see what his story was like. Right. And I wanted to see if he really believed that he could lose it. Because a lot of people say, I want to lose the weight, but they're really not ready to make the change yet. Mm-hmm. They're not ready to make the lifestyle. They want someone else to drag them through it. And so, yeah, go ahead. What
was it about him that made you say, you're the person who can do this with me?
You know what, I thought about contacting so many people, and I just only contacted one news channel, right, and they got me in contact with them, right, ironically on the same day my mom died. Wow. And on her deathbed, she was telling me, David, I need you to lose this weight. Mm-hmm. And and a year passed, and on that day,
is when you...
Yeah. That's when we made contact.
I'm sorry.
Go.
What did you do?
As far as the procedure that we used?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing, physiologically, there's so many different diets that work, and so you just create a calorie deficit so someone can lose weight, but understanding that it's the whole psychological aspect of it. The physiological part, the physical part's the easy part, it's the emotional part. Yeah. And once again, he was 630 pounds because they were comfort foods, because, I wanted to sit down, I wanted to learn how he ate, And then he told me about, starving all day because he would wake up and say, I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to eat, but you're so hungry at night, binge at night. We call it sumo dieting. That's what sumo wrestlers do to gain all that weight. So I needed to split the meals into, of course, the first thing I always do is get people eating 6 times during the day. I think about it like a metabolic potter's wheel, like your body's like a lump of clay. Every time you eat, you spin that wheel. So I had to get them spinning up, and then we can start to mold the body. But yeah, go ahead.
No, because this is so wonderful. You guys are best friends.
Yeah.
And you developed this eating plan for David, and you guys worked out together. When did the friendship start? Because you said he couldn't even look you in the eye.
Yeah.
You couldn't joke around.
Yeah. I wrote him a letter, like 3 months later, and went over some difficult things in my life as far as how I got that big. I was molested when I was 6 or 7 by, the first friend I ever made. And, I turned to food at that point in my life, to escape. And,
And you read this letter? Can you say what the letter said?
Well, in the letters, it was about 2 pages long, and I've got the original, and it's smeared because I cried the whole time reading it because I had no idea. I had gotten to know him for about 3 months, and he handed me the letter as I was leaving one day, because I was driving out to his house every other day, and he handed it to me and said, don't read it yet, just read it later on. And so I drove to a coffee shop and I started reading it, and I just started crying because I kept joking around with him, trying to get the personality out, and it was really starting to happen. But then I realized just emotionally how important I was to him, just not as a trainer, but as a friend, as someone who actually believed in him as his support system. And it went from there.
And it just went from there.
I have to ask this question. You stopped going outside. You stopped. When you went out for the first time after losing some of this weight, how was that? Did it take you a while to say, okay, today I'm going out today, I promise?
Yeah, because, when you're that big, people look at you all the time. And I just got smaller and smaller, and people started ignoring me, and that was great,
It's funny because he said it's so nice to go out and have people not look at me,
or
to have people not know I'm there.
And Chris, I want to ask you, because we see how you have changed David's life with the weight loss. How has David changed your life?
And that's the one thing. So many people say, well, good for you for changing his life. But that's actually where this whole thing kind of, the journey continues on, and that's why David is he's becoming a trainer right now, because I need for him to experience just the fulfillment on my side. I was a personal trainer. I was just kind of in the daily grind, and to be able to do something like this, hands down, is the most fulfilling thing I've ever done in my life. And I've devoted my life here on out. I could die a happy man today, but I want him to become a trainer so he can find the next David and he can actually experience it, what he's done for me, just that sense of fulfillment, because I can't compare it to anything else in the world. It's absolutely unbelievable. So
this is so absolutely inspiring, just a friendship you guys have forged and developed. And so congratulations and good luck on you being a trainer and getting that same fulfillment. Thank you so much to David Smith and Chris Powell. We're going to be right back with 2 women who underwent gastric bypass surgery and had very different results. This is such a great